Hey everybody, it's Ed O'Keefe and welcome to the Ed O'Keefe Show. I am here with a really good friend of mine, Matt Linklater. Matt is the president and founder of a really amazing company that's doing incredible things for not only business owners, but also high net worth individuals that are looking to recapture money that's currently being paid in taxes to the government to free up cash flow so that they can put that money to use in their own businesses, as well as, unlike most professionals, whether it's fiduciaries or accountants, Matt's company actually has the fiduciary component to it, which allows you to take money you've recaptured and invest it strategically. Am I saying that right, Matt?
Yeah, I think you're on the right track.
Okay, yeah. Cool. So we're here for a fun conversation. I wish we were recording all morning long because you educated me on many ways that myself as a business owner and father of 7 and someone that's looking to make my money work for me while creating value for people can take advantage of what's already there, and that's what your company does. So first of all, welcome to the show. It's great having you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, why don't you walk me through what you guys do and what you do for people?
Yeah. So what I kind of coined it as is family office services.
Yeah.
And where I got that from is when you look at the ultra high net worth, say somebody worth 30, 40, 50, 100 million, what they do a lot of times is they manage their own money, right? So what they're doing is buying businesses, buying real estate, doing different deals, but they'll have deal makers in-house, CPAs, lawyers, maybe even financial advisors. And so where we can't afford that typically, if you're making $250,000, $500,000, $1 million or worth $5 million, you don't have that type of team. And so what I found is that most business owners, are missing that type of expertise. So, kind of what we talked about, they have a CPA that they really talk to you maybe one time a year, and they're really kind of historians. They take their P&L, drop it into the tax software, and that's all the expertise they get. Then they go to maybe a financial advisor, and financial advisors, most business owners don't have a lot of money in the stock market typically. And so a financial advisor will charge you 1% and do a buy and hold strategy. So maybe even if you're not a business owner and you're investing, well, you're paying an advisor. It's a lifestyle business. I was joking this morning here, it's 10 a.m. and probably most financial advisors are in their shorts and t-shirts because they buy and hold, they buy something, they charge you 1%. They're really just managing your emotions. And so financial advisors, your best rate of return is in your business. If you're not a financial advisor, you're a business owner.
If you're a business owner, right.
Because, in a business, what are you earning? 20, 30% profit on your business. So why would you put your money in the stock market earning, 5, 6, 7, 8%?
That's right.
And then we really never talk to our attorneys too much. And so really I call it the triangle of wealth. How do you have a tax attorney, a financial advisor, and a CPA all working together to maximize your tax savings, maximizing your return, and maximizing your wealth?
And so this is really interesting. So I have a couple of friends that are worth well over $100 million. Mm-hmm. And so they have what you're saying is they have their own triangle of wealth because they can afford it.
Yeah.
Right. And so what you're doing is you're actually allowing, not like a co-op, but you're allowing someone like myself to afford and have the ability, having the same structure and have the same support as somebody with ultra high net worth for people that, I think we talked off camera. Why don't you actually explain who this is actually perfect for? Because I have a ton of questions to follow up on this. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, I find over the years, there's a couple, let's look at the business owner side and let's look at individual kind of people who are high net worth and saving for retirement, if you will. So when you look at a business owner, typically anyone from $250,000 to $500,000 in income a year, we could really help save on different tax strategies. But also you're looking at people with, say $5 million or more net worth, they have estate tax problems. They have just other issues that they're dealing with that, it's hard to find that advisor to kind of solve that problem. And so when you look at most business owners, they're business operators. So here they are, running their business every day. They don't even have a great right-hand person to free up that time. And so kind of we can be that right-hand person financially to make sure that, you have real-time accounting, your numbers are real-time to make, real-time decisions and educated decisions. But also, the government doesn't have loopholes. They have tax incentives. So they're incentivizing you to invest in different areas in the United States economy, and they're giving you tax incentives for that. So we know that, so we want to help business owners with that. So when you look at it, anybody who's making 250, 500,000, owns a business, we can help with those types of strategies. And then anybody who has estate tax problems and things of that nature with business owners. And then on the other side, when you look at somebody saving hard for retirement, there's a couple things on that. Number one is, like I said earlier, your advisor is probably a good guy or a good lady, and they're great, but they're buying and holding. And so how did that fare during Y2K in 2000 when we had a 50% decline, or how about in 2008 when we went through a 50% decline? And so how are they really managing your money? And then look at from a tax perspective, we all think that we should have tax deferred, 401ks, IRAs. But the reality is a lot of times, and I can show a case study on this to somebody that wants to come in, you might save $60,000 in taxes over a 30-year kind of work years, if you will, by saving in 401ks, but you'll pay $600,000 in taxes during your retirement. So, is that the right strategy for you or not? And then the other strategy is just on IRAs. How about Roth conversions? Should you do one? Should you not do one? What's the right number? So we help with the tax strategy on that side as well for folks. So when you look at who this is right for, I think it's right for a business owner and somebody that really wants to maximize their wealth and really make sure that they're doing all the possible things to create wealth. Because the number one fee we all pay is taxes.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing. One of the questions I have for you before we're on camera is, since you work with predominantly successful people, right? Unless they just came on a generational windfall or something like that, right? But usually business owners are people that are successful, they work hard, they're focused. And I asked you this question, why don't they already know about what you shared with me? Because I've been an entrepreneur for now 26 years. And you shared with me minimally 3 things this morning that I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. So why is it, if I'm a business owner watching this, for someone who's worth $5 million plus, why is it that this, but they don't, so to speak? Why is that?
Well, a couple things is one, dedicated the last 25 years in this industry.
Right.
And so what's unique about my experience in that, and then I'll explain why they might not have that.
Sure.
Is, first I worked at Allstate, I worked at Ameriprise, I worked at AXA. So I worked at 3 of the largest financial firms really in the world. And what was unique about that experience is I only worked with financial advisors and their high net worth clients, and their clients that were looking for some type of tax savings. And so really during that time, I had about 10,000 meetings with financial advisors just during that 10-year stretch, right? And so then from there, I also owned a company where we trained financial professionals and financial advisors. And there alone, I spoke to about 20,000 financial advisors during about a 3-year period and built different trainings. From you name the financial firm, from a Fidelity to an Oppenheimer to an American Funds to to a Putnam, you name the company, I consulted with them.
Yeah.
So there, I just have a lot of exposure to different ideas and different strategies. And so then look at a business owner, or look at somebody. First look at a business owner. They're working hard in their business. They're a lot of times they're business operators. I train them to be entrepreneurs. Not entrepreneurs, but where they're running the business and working on the business, I should say. And I've helped people buy other businesses and really help invest back in their business. So where they're in that business, just operating and really busy, and they know their print shop, their pool company, their landscaping company, they don't maybe have time to learn all these concepts. And so bringing those concepts to them and helping them, a barber shop in Chicago, I helped them open another location. I pitted 2 banks against each other. One wanted to do just a line of credit, and the other did a 7-year amortization loan. The 7-year amortization loan, obviously cheaper than the line of credit. And she said, you had the banks pitted against each other, and he didn't even know the other bank wasn't even offering as good as a product as he was offering us. And so, people just don't have that type of expertise, and, you're just working in your business so much, so you have somebody that can look at that 30,000 view with you and really help strategically for you.
Yeah, well, you just brought up a great point, which was most financial investors are not going to, or even insurance reps are not going to be like, hey, Matt, did you ever think that you should be acquiring businesses right now?
Right.
Because they don't have that skill set.
That's right.
They wouldn't even think that way. And then I even asked you today, like, well, how do you acquire businesses? How do you teach people? And you shared like 3 different strategies on acquiring businesses. And I was like, oh, you could put 5% down on a company to acquire.
Yeah.
Strip out the expenses, consolidate it, and input your own system. So if there's a business owner out there right now who has a system that's working inside their business, their quickest path to wealth might not be buy and hold, but go buy 3 underperforming or mid-performing similar machines and just take what's working in yours, stick it in those. Now, there might be a little more to that, but most people would never get that insight or advice, correct?
Oh, 100%. And then they never really look at it this way. So a family office I deal with down here, I don't want to divulge too much information, but they went and did real estate. Real estate, you can earn 15, 20%, maybe 30% cash on cash. But if you buy a business, it's a 300% rate of return on your money. If you just look at, through SBA, here's a secret if you want to go to SBA.
Yeah, tell the story.
There's a way only to put 5% down on an SBA loan. So the seller has to hold 5% back. I can help you structure that. And then you put 5% down. And that 5% down on that money, you got to run the company. But it's a 300% rate of return on that dollar that you're putting in the company. And so we can go through all the, probably a little bit much for a video here without a whiteboard and stuff. But there's a way to invest back in your company, back into your industry, and get another company and make 300% rate of return on your investment. You definitely have to run the company, and there's other nuances there. It's not a riskless transaction, but it's a great way to accelerate your wealth.
Yeah. Nothing we're talking about here today is riskless. I mean, you wouldn't be an entrepreneur, you wouldn't be in business if you weren't already aware that you're responsible. And I mean, it's so funny. My brother, who I love my brother, but he went right from high school right into the union, and he's always like, how do you like, I couldn't live like you do being an entrepreneur. And I was like, I know, and I couldn't live like you do. Like, we're just different people. It's okay. It's okay. Amazing. Okay, cool. So that's kind of how you got into this world. I guess the reason why a lot of people, these industries aren't teaching it is just pure, I don't know if this is the right word, it's just like the cultural incest. Like, they're all just being told the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
So unless you have somebody thinking outside the box. Did you find yourself asking those questions when you were going through those years of meeting with so many financial advisors?
Yeah, I think, there's a couple things. One, just meeting with so many financial advisors, you realize, the good ones and the bad ones.
Okay.
If you break down the 80-20 rule, something I kind of hold near and dear is, how a heuristic I use is 0.8% of anybody in any industry is producing 50% of the results. So I just kind of round up and say 1%, 50. So the 1% are producing 50% of the results. So the other 99 are producing the other 50. If you really think about how anything breaks down.
Right. So which means, can I interrupt you real quick? Yeah. Which means even if we're talking about the top 20% of people who are good at finding out who that top 20% is, 90% of the people watching this video are probably working with the bottom 99%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
At least 50% are working with the bottom 99.
That's right. Okay, got
it. However you want to look at it.
However you want to look at it, yeah.
So meeting with different advisors, you realize, and I can tell you how I know that most, fiduciaries, is how that started is in the early 2000s, fiduciaries really wanted to earn 1% on your money. And so being a fiduciary, you could charge 1%.
Yeah.
And then they can get $100 million under management, earn $1 million, and then they're like, I'm out. Right?
Got it.
And so it's a lifestyle business. So I think, and nothing against those guys.
Yeah, we're not criticizing them. We're just making it aware that
most
counter incentives.
So most of your financial professionals, your lawyer, your CPA, your financial advisor, they've created lifestyle businesses for themselves. Yeah. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. My wife would rather me create a lifestyle business for me than really want to be tactically in the business, 12, 13 hours a day, really 365 days a year.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, and again, there's nothing wrong with it, but to your point, I met with the top financial advisors in the country, in all 50 states. I am an entrepreneur. So since 2010, I got out of the corporate world and started being, straight an entrepreneur. So when you look at these different strategies, no one's there to help you. You go to your CPA. I remember sitting down in my accountant's office, and he was telling somebody, he said, I just had a $60,000 windfall. What should I do? And he said, well, you really can't do anything but just pay tax on that money. That's completely untrue. I helped an Uber driver who's had a $2,500 tax bill get it down to $250 legally and ethically just by consulting and helping him run a business rather than just saying, oh, here's what I did in Uber, here's what I pay in tax. I said, no, you have a business. Let's look at your business expenses. And so we did some different things like that. And so most people just, a CPA is not going to spend that type of time that has a lifestyle business, and they have 6 weeks of the year where they're just trying to get all the tax returns out. And then after that, then they, let's go take a 2-week vacation. And that's just not my methodology. I love solving problems, and as an entrepreneur, we have problems. We create some of our own problems at my cost. But I solved a lot of problems for myself, and I love solving problems for people. If you come in, I can help solve a problem or help accelerate your wealth. Yeah,
what's interesting about that? Wait, so if you come in, I can help solve those problems and help accelerate your wealth. I think that's really well said. And you can go whether you're a golfer, whether whatever you do on your hobby time, and you bump into your accountants and whatever. Ask them say a few questions just about hey, I was thinking about how I could, save more off my taxes or put money back into my business. Most of them don't think like business or tax incentives. They're not thinking on ways for you to reinvest. Again, they were trained to process paperwork to get them filed. That's what their job is. The strategy and business advisory component is completely not normal to that profession.
That's right.
So that's why, if any of you are like me, I went through multiple accountants till I found the one I work with now.
100%.
And when I was talking to you this morning, I have a good one, but I'm still you're right. He has not proactively reached out to me in more than almost 11 months, other than to file things. I'm like, why am I not having more conversations with my accountant?
And that's the thing with the CPA license is really to do what's called audit and attest work. So attest to your finances. So today I had to have a CPA sign a personal financial statement for a very large estate plan that we were doing, right?
Okay.
And so that CPA, he's putting his license on on the line and attesting to that personal financial statement. So a CPA's license is the IRS teaching, a CPA to be in compliance with the IRS for audit and attest work. And what it means is if they're auditing financials or attesting to financials. That's really what the CPA license is for. So technically, when you go to a CPA to do your taxes and do that, it's not that they're not smart. It's not that the CPA exam's not hard and they don't have great credentials, but that's not what it's for. That CPA license is to keep you in compliance with the IRS, but not even necessarily you with your tax return, which is part of it, but it's really if you need audit or attest work, which 99% of CPAs out there don't do, and 99% of business owners don't need. So when you look at it, it's not that a CPA is not great, it's just that's not what they're trained to do.
Got it.
So they're trained for that. So when you go to a CPA, there are great ones out there, or accounting and tax firms, but you really want somebody who's going to offer you some financial consulting or financial advice.
So what does that look like in your company? So if I'm someone that want to reach out, talk to you guys, walk me through how that process, how does it start? What's the process look like in order to get advisory and services with you?
Yeah. So now, obviously, when you come in, we want to hear what's on your mind. What are your problems? What are your goals? And we want to help build that roadmap. And then through our family office services, we would like to look at your last year tax returns. We run it through our system, and we come up with a tax blueprint. Could we help you in any way, just right out of the gate, saving some tax dollars that maybe were lost just to bad ideas or not implementing great ideas? And then from there, what other strategies do you need? So sometimes we'll look at, do you need an estate plan? How do you want to grow your business? Do you own real estate? Can we offer your tax incentives on that side? Like I said, I don't know if I told this on camera, but earlier we helped a guy in Chicago buy a $16 million dental practice.
No, that was off camera. Tell the story, would you?
Yeah, so because this is one of the things, just feeding in, we'll take you through these processes, but one of the things we did is Gentleman in Chicago is buying a $16 million dental practice. He's not a dentist, by the way.
Which is usually, okay, keep going. Which is usually not. You have some loopholes you gotta make sure you cover if you're not a dentist.
That's
correct?
right.
Okay,
That's
cool.
right. And so
Which, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah, no,
So
absolutely.
for most advisors, they'd be like, you can't do it.
you can do it, yeah.
That's right. Like, I know you want to buy a dental practice, but you just can't do it.
No,
Okay,
100%.
go home.
Yeah.
Go buy something else. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just say nobody would help you.
Yeah, that's right. That's
And
great.
so he wanted to buy a dental practice, and through my lawyer out of Kansas, Lewis, we put together the actual business structure for him to be able to do that, number one. Number two is he had an investor with $2.5 million, but it was that Wells Fargo IRA. This 75-year-old gentleman was just going to cash in his IRA and pay all the tax on it right now. I said, wait, we can self-direct it. So we helped him move it over to a trust company. We self-directed it. We bought shares into that dental practice. And then we bought this $16 million dental practice. And so we structured that whole deal. But he didn't know where to go to, and he didn't know, who would have been able to do it. And quite honestly, our lawyer probably undercharged for it. Whereas if he really had somebody with the expertise, because Pritzker, the governor in Illinois, I don't know if he's still the governor, he buys dental practice. So we did the same structure as Pritzker.
Oh, is that right? That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
And however, though, if you went to a law firm, you probably would have paid 50, 100 grand just to do it. I'm not sure what our lawyer charged on that deal, but it definitely wasn't 50 or 100 grand. He
Yeah,
got away with the steal on that one.
That's amazing.
But so we helped buy that. So what I'm saying is, when your original question was, what do you do? So I take you through this. What do you want to do in your business? It could be small things like, I'm just looking for real-time accounting. I think I have some better tax incentives I might qualify for, and we can stop there. Or do you have some goals? Or do you have some some money that you want to invest, and what's the best way to invest
Yeah.
it? As I was just saying, it could be in a dental practice. It could be in your own business. It could be in you buying another business. Excuse me. It could be investing in the stock market. But what's the right solution for you?
Now, and do they meet with you individually? Like, are you the fiduciary, the key contact when? Who are they talking to on the strategy side?
Yep. So 100%. So I have tax managers that kind of are in charge of the account.
Yeah.
And then I work with my tax managers to implement these types of strategies. And so you're meeting with directly me and one of my team members because they got to help me implement. I can't do everything, right?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, they meet with me. I put together the whole blueprint and the architect of it. And then my team helps me implement it.
Well, I think what's great about you, Matt, is like you entrepreneur, but you've built out full sales teams. You've built in systems for other companies that were scaling rapidly, and so those are unique skill sets.
Yeah.
And so when you guys work with Matt, you're getting a growth consultant at the same time, even though you don't position yourself that way. But you are, like, you grow businesses is really what you do, and you're uniquely gifted at seeing the blind spots of these different industries, legal, accounting, and fiduciary responsibilities of investing, and being able to bring those all into one spot. That frankly, it's got to be very difficult, if not impossible, for somebody to juggle all three of those balls and make them all align.
It's definitely not easy with
Yeah.
the expertise. So I plug in. I'm a systems and processes guy, right? So I come into a business, and I do have a business consulting and sales consulting strategy, revenue consulting, and so I can come in and I look at like the sales training company. We doubled sales within the first 30 days. I
Right.
sold the consulting gig. I built an on-demand coaching platform for that.
Yeah.
Another company is just went from 2 million to 6 million EBITDA in 2.5 years. Again, it was already a big company, already scaling, but kind of sprinkled in measurements, daily meetings. Everybody on the whole team knew exactly where they were on a daily basis, and that was all because of me bringing that in, so they knew where they were on a daily
Right.
basis and could
Yeah.
measure things. So there's a lot of strategies like that we could bring in, but to your point, I don't overly market that when I come to the accounting practice or the CPA firm that I'm currently in. It's something that we'll probably get to and bring that. But that's really what we want, is acceleration of growth in your
Yeah.
business and your wealth, and there's better ways to do it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. A couple things. What would be, when people come into you, what are either some of their concerns, their most commonly asked questions do you mind sharing a couple of the most commonly asked questions you get when people come in for their consultation with you?
Yeah. I think a lot of times they know there's a better solution out there, to your point.
Yeah.
I've went through a lot of CPAs. My first rendition of this, I sold my practice 2019, is I was outsourcing everything to a CPA and started from scratch. And so what happened was I couldn't get a CPA to hit their deadlines, to communicate back to me. I couldn't then communicate to my clients. And so one of the big things I have is people just want transparency and they want communication. And a lot of small business owners just can't give that to them, and a lot of tax offices. So I would say number one. Number two is they don't know where their numbers are. How many are keeping their books, and they kind of just have different ideas in their mind. But if you don't have a system and a process or a checklist, and you're trained this way, it leads to your unconscious errors. And so a lot of people come in and they realize, I don't have real-time accounting, I don't know my numbers, I don't know where I'm at. The other thing is, they don't really have a goal of where they're going to be. But then when you just look at kind of just tax and accounting, they just want somebody that's going to do the work, do it on time, and can you save me some money? Can you save me some money on my taxes? So it's not as complex as we think. It's just, I'm running my business like ragged. My CPA doesn't return my calls. Can you get my stuff done in a timely fashion? And can you find any tax incentives for me?
Do you help, or give me some life events when people would reach out to you, like before exits, wanting to exit, after exit, is there any divorce? I know these are all I'm just picking up life events. I would imagine that you get some interesting conversations or people wanting to chat with you on.
It's I don't really get a lot of the life events like you're saying. However, I get a lot of bifurcation points in businesses, right?
Okay, that's a life event. Okay,
so when
great.
I look at this, I had a whole family where
great distinction, by the way.
So I had a whole family in when I was in Chicago, and they're from Fort Wayne, and there's a business in Chicago. One guy lived in Wisconsin, Nevada, and so really what they wanted is they wanted, like you were saying, the three of them were starting their own consulting firm. They wanted better accounting, real-time accounting, and they wanted some tax incentives. Then what they also had is they wanted some buy-sell agreements. They had buy-sell agreements at another firm, so I was able to move those over to better strategies, better suited strategies. So really, it's they're looking at a better way to manage their business. One guy's ran 15 liquor stores, and so they just wanted better advice, in accounting and tax incentives. We got them what was called WOTC credits, work opportunity tax credits, because they had an employee, workforce kind of turnover, so they're hiring a lot of people. They were hiring, and the WOTC credits for military people, disenfranchised people.
Great. Yeah.
So we helped them with WOTC credits. We helped them restructure their buy-sell agreement. We helped them with the tax plan. So it's really business owners that are either starting a new business, transferring businesses, or realize that they have financial assets that are untapped. They had these big insurance policies that were just sitting there and growing at under 4%. And so we could restructure that. Their insurance, one, to be used as collateral, two, to borrow from, and three, just to better accelerate the growth of those strategies. So it's not really a life event, whereas it's just, you're a business guy and you want to grow.
Yeah.
Or lady.
I love it. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, what am I missing anything? So we cover much on the legal side. I know you have your handpicked lawyers that you work with, correct?
Yep. So I have a couple different lawyers, and let's look at why you would need a lawyer, right? Number one is this. What I find is a lot of people don't have the proper estate plan. They might have a revocable trust, or so let's just start there. So if you have any money, your money's and you don't have a revocable trust, your money goes to probate, right? And so if your money goes to probate, it ties up your money.
In a legal
sense.
In a legal event. So someone sues them.
No. So let's look at this. So my stepmother, she passed away. She lived right here in Venice, Florida. And so my dad and her didn't have a trust. So her assets were tied up in probate for at least, it was about a year.
Wow, so nothing could be distributed to...
Nothing could be distributed, everything was there.
Oh my gosh.
And my stepbrothers had to pay money out of their pocket.
Yep.
One for legal fees, but all other transactional fees just to manage her money and estate, right?
Yeah.
So that money was tied up. So if you have any money, you need a revocable trust, and it helps you, so revocable trust just titles it, say in the Linklater family trust, right?
Yeah.
So nothing in your name, nothing to probate. So now we eliminate those probate fees. So that's where a lawyer comes in and a proper estate plan. So now you have a revocable trust. Now let's look at when do you need an irrevocable trust? Well, if you have an estate tax problem, and in 2026 it sunsets, so let's just go to that, is that if you have over $12 million and you don't have an irrevocable trust or a proper estate plan, not necessarily an irrevocable trust, I don't want to even mince my words there, but anything over, if you don't have the proper trust, anything over $6 million is taxed at 40% after 2026.
Oh, wow.
So if you're an entrepreneur, any deal you're doing, that if you're worth over $6 million, if you don't have the proper estate plan, 40%, the government's your partner in all your deals.
Oh my gosh.
So you have to have the proper estate plan. So when you're talking about a lawyer, I have a lawyer that I play football with out of Lake Forest College in Illinois, and he's my lawyer and does a lot of my estate plans and does revocable trust, irrevocable life insurance trust. And so you need the proper estate plan. And how many people have a lawyer like that?
Yeah.
But you go to a lawyer, this is what lawyers do. They'll do your trust, but then they don't implement your trust. So now you have a trust, you haven't implemented, your money still goes to probate because you haven't titled everything into your trust. And so working with somebody like me, I make sure it's all implemented.
Wow, that's pretty. When did you graduate? When did you go to Lake Forest?
I went there in 1995, 96. I went there for 2 years. I played football.
You know Rich O'Brien?
Not enough top of my head.
Lake Forest. Where did he go? Oh, he went to NIU. Oh no, I have a few guys. I know they went to Lake Forest. I'm gonna hit you up off camera. Mount Carmel guys. Crazy crew.
And so then also when you go to a lawyer on the estate plan, if they don't know the financial aspects and the financial tools you should put in those different trusts,
Yep.
then you're lost too. So that's the whole idea why you want the triangle of wealth, because you have a lawyer operating here, you have a CPA over here, and you have a financial advisor over here. None of them are talking,
Yep.
and none of them really know how to implement a plan.
Right, and there's a reason why personal injury attorneys and attorneys make, they do those big billboards because
Yeah.
people's trusts are not, or their assets are not properly protected.
Protected.
So it's easier for them to pierce your trust. So they're praying and hoping you don't know this information.
100%.
Yeah,
They don't want you to know any of this.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so let's just go back real quick. So if I'm just to who this is, who should reach out to you today, actually, and when they reach out to you, do you do a free consultation, or do you guys charge for your initial, like, just a huddle?
Yeah. No, upfront everything's completely free and complimentary.
Okay.
We'll do a complete strategy for you.
Wow.
Blueprint.
Yeah.
Whether it be a tax incentive blueprint, tax planning blueprint, and then learn what your goals are, and then we'll come back with a plan and a strategy.
Yeah.
And then it's your choice to implement it or not, really.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, just so everyone understands, I mean, I've spent $2,500 just to get strategies without even implementing them yet.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, but so that's pretty amazing that you guys do that. And so this would work. I just want to reiterate who this is for. This is for people that minimally are making over $250,000 to $500,000 plus per year, or a lot of business owners doing $1 million a year with net worths of $5 million plus. But if you're like, I don't know if I fit in, just reach out to Matt's office. I mean, there's no pressure, there's no risk. They want to serve you and support you. That's what's super, super important. So I don't have a lot more questions left. Is there anything that you feel you want to share with the audience that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll wrap up as two things, like, where does it fit? Just make sure
Yeah.
it's really tight. Is one, it fits for business owners. If
Yeah.
you're making $250,000 or more, we can help you. Chances are we can help you. If you have a $5 million or more net worth, we can help you. When you look at, say you save $500,000 or a few $1 million, or maybe even $20 million for your retirement, and you have that saved and you're in retirement. If you want to maximize your income, there's only three things you can do. Spend it now, spend it later, or leave a legacy. And if you want to maximize any three of those, we can do that for you. Most advisors
That's
just
really
say,
good, by
hey,
the
let's
way.
just put you in the market. Let's get 6-7%. Here's your income. We'll let things lie when you're kids.
Yeah.
But we need to know, what's the tax implications of your IRA? How much do you want to leave your kids? Is there a better product or solution than just the stock market to get you more legacy?
Okay,
so when you put all that together,
Yeah.
I don't think enough financial advisors are looking at it that way.
Yeah, I want to actually extend this a little longer because I want to ask you about that. Okay, so legacy component, kids component, the government can't wait for you to make mistakes on this.
Right.
Correct, right? Like they want a lot of your money, they want to tax it, right?
Right away.
So what are the couple, just on that note, as far as like, hey, we're growing our business, I want to make sure I structure things properly for my kids, and or my successors, if my kids are going to take over the business. What are a couple of the mistakes people or misconceptions people have about this that you see?
Yeah, I just think when you're structuring your when you're structuring your business and that legacy is a couple misconceptions is people think their business is worth more than it is. Thank God that private equity is like paying way too much for businesses and they're actually be able to get something.
Okay.
But you can help structure that business in such a way so you can maximize that exit strategy, right? So we can make sure your expenses are reduced in the business. We can show you how to maximize your profit, free up some cash flow, and then even grow the top line, right? So there's some misconceptions of how much your business is worth, and then how you're going to sell it, and what's the price that you're going to sell it at, and then who's going to buy it, and how do you structure that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a misconception with a lot of business owners. They think their business is worth more, right? And then just on the other side, thinking, just in the recent tax act that Trump passed, you used to be able to stretch an IRA out for to the next generation. Now, if you die, all that tax has to be paid in 10 years, right? So there's a lot of misconceptions on just, how should I structure that tax-wise, and how should I convert it to a Roth IRA, and then how do I leave the maximum amount tax-free to my kids? And so I think there's just misconceptions about, you go to a financial advisor and you say, well, do you do estate planning? And they say yes. And say, well, what do you do? Well, they don't really, consult on trust. They don't consult on the legacy. They don't consult on taking an IRA and transferring it to a Roth or converting it to a Roth. So I think just the misconceptions are that they don't know where to turn. They don't know where to turn for this advice. And like I said, 1% out there is given 50% of the best advice.
That's so good. That's so good. All right, everybody. Well, hey, you've heard it here with Matt Linklater. If you would like to get a free consultation and a strategy session with Matt, and then possibly work with his team, no risk, no obligation, there should be a number or a website here on the video or below, a link to click on, that you can go ahead and book an appointment with him. And is there anything else you want to wrap up with on that?
No, I think that's about it. Just get in touch with us, schedule right on our calendar. We'll have a meeting, free consultation, and just see if right from there you'll know in 20 minutes if we're a good fit or if we could help you out. Yeah,
but one thing you said too about like fees and services, like you were telling me recently how just someone came to you, you saved immediately $26,000 on their taxes, and I think the fee was around $7,000, but it's like they're now buying free advice. Like your advice given free is going to unleash cash flow that then they could use to work with your team. And so in other words, like I always like to frame with people, I always like to see when I look at somebody who's selling money at a discount, that's what you're doing. If you unleash $250,000 of tax incentives and opportunity that they're not seeing because they're blind spots.
100%.
But there's an investment to be made. That investment is actually free because it's being paid back immediately by the increased value you've created. Correct?
100%. And that's the unique thing about what I do is, for lack of a better word, I'm selling money. For in that example, let's just say, I said, hey, to implement this plan, it's $7,000, but you have $21,000 that we're putting in your pocket. So if I'm a business owner, I'm going to say, how many times can I write that $7,000 check and get $21,000 back? Yeah. And so that's the approach that I take. And then we were bringing on a new client recently, and it was a business owner. And it was like for bookkeeping and payroll, and it wasn't that expensive. It was $1,000 a month, which is nice. I mean, $10,000 for a business owner, right? That's a nice client. So I said to my tax manager, I said, get his last year's tax return so I can do a tax plan. Because I'd rather show him I could save him a few bucks and then say, here, look, the $10,000 is free. So that's really the strategy I use, is how do I help you? If I give you more value than you're paying, then it's a good relationship for you and for me.
So you were like, hey, so he's an accounting client, and then you went ahead and proactively looked at how we can save him more money or make him more money, and then you're able to propose that, and synergistically, he's able to not only get his books done, but everything else is just.
And it's basically free for him.
So it becomes a flywheel.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So that's it. So hey, everybody, thanks for watching this. Matt, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
Appreciate this,
I love what you're doing. And go ahead and reach out to Matt and his team. Call the number, go to the website, and just book a call. No risk, no obligation. And I can't believe you're actually doing it for free. So as of right this moment, you can get a complimentary consult. So thanks for watching. Matt, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.